Hi, everyone, and welcome to Let's Get Visible, a podcast for business owners helping them to grow, have a sustainable business, and get more visibility online. I'm Dawes Brown, and I'll be bringing you SEO and digital marketing tips, as well as interviews and conversations with other business owners. So, let's get started.
So today we are joined by Lisa Harrison. She is a dynamic entrepreneur who embarked on a transformative journey from 2 decades in the medical industry to the holistic realm, guided by a profound belief in the interconnectedness of mind, body, and soul. As a devoted mother of 3, Lisa understands the intricate balance required to navigate the complexities of life while nurturing personal growth. Drawing from her own experiences, grappling with stress and seeking inner harmony, Lisa discovered the power of energy work and soulful alignment. This pivotal realization ignited her passion for guiding others towards holistic wellness and empowering individuals to embark on their own transformative pathways. With a keen focus on personal development and an unwavering commitment to authenticity, Lisa equips others with the tools to manifest their fullest potential and lead lives with purpose and vitality. Through her work, she catalyzes profound shifts, illuminating pathways to self-discovery and empowering individuals to embrace their innate capacities for healing and growth. So let's welcome to the Let's Get Visible podcast, Lisa. Yay!
Thank you, Dawes. Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. I'm so excited to have you on the podcast today. And I know our listeners are going to learn so much from our chat. There's so much to go through, so much to unpack. And as I mentioned in your introduction, there was a leap that began after 2 decades of being in the medical field. And that's what then led you to your own business and launching your own business. So if you can take us back to when that all started and how that started and the transition from working in the medical field to now running your own business.
Yeah, so I think it's one of those things I've always been very naturally aligned. I was never really someone who wanted to take different medications and things like that. I would always just let my body do its thing.
Yeah.
Working in the industry, obviously, I was there because I wanted to help people. That was really what took me there, because whatever I could do to make someone's day better, that was what I was guided to do.
Yeah.
Over the years, more and more it became about the money and how people's care was lacking because of lack of resources, or because you needed to put more and more people in for the sake of the business. And that didn't align with my values, because I want people to come in and know that they've been cared for in the best possible way. And it wasn't about making that money for other people, but it was about giving that care to the people. So I started to feel like my own sense of self started to really dwindle away because of that. You know, I felt like I could do my job to the best of my ability, but if it wasn't reflected in the quality that was given to that person, then it was really all for nothing. So I noticed a real change in my own self, and I started to really dwindle away and started to feel quite depleted, and started to think, surely there's got to be something more to life than just getting up and going to do this job and then coming home and being on that wheel of the same old thing every single day. So it was then that I started to explore more so my family dynamic, and I wanted to be able to, in my terms, raise the best kids that I could. And I started some different programs, but very quickly learned that for me to be able to raise the best kids that I could, I needed to be the best version of myself. And all of that work then started with me. So quicker and quicker, I realized that through working on myself, it naturally flows on to my children. And if I'm feeling good about myself, it was a mirror effect that they were feeling more balanced and calm in themselves. So through that profound transformation is really how I really uncovered myself on such a deeper level, and that I was so much more than what I'd ever told myself that I could be. And then I was like, every mother needs to know this. Every child needs a mother who feels this way. And that's
Yes.
how I've branched into this way of working now.
Yeah. And tell us about your current business. So the different modalities that you do and what you offer, and the bits, I guess, that you love the most out of the work that you do now.
Yeah, so it's unfolded. So realistically, I started in 2021, and it was basically I was starting and doing Reiki, and that was my bread and butter. I would say, you know, that's what I was working on. That's what I felt really good doing, and that's the work that I still to this day absolutely love. And I've really noticed over the last, well, we'll say almost 3 years, how much improvement, how much growth has come through me, and how much more value I'm bringing to my clients as a result of me putting the time and energy into learning more, uncovering more. I'm still going through so many processes myself. So it's really morphed so much more than just coming in and having a Reiki session. Like, I sort of feel like just saying Reiki doesn't really cover the impact of each session that I'm doing with my clients.
Yes.
I've transitioned to also be working with lots of kids. As I said before, making sure that those children learn from a really young age the importance of who they are, the importance of them being able to have a voice, the importance of them feeling strong in everything about themselves, and, you know, really growing with these strong values and beliefs to help them be and do whatever they want to be when they become the age that I was at 40, where I sort of was like, oh my gosh, you know, I just didn't really understand. So I had to go back and relearn everything. Whereas these kids, I'm hoping that we can build and grow them to be strong all throughout their life. I also mentioned that right at the start of my transition to motherhood was probably my biggest point of, I now have to be the best person that I can be. And any mother who has gone and had children understands the transformation from being a single woman to then becoming a mother. And I've now really embraced, with my background of ultrasound for 20 years, I've now embraced that transition into motherhood. And I'm also doing hypnobirthing and positive birthing practices and Reiki through pregnancy to be able to really help calm that mother, eliminate all the stress and the fears, and empower her to know that she's stepping into the most profound period of her life. So in a roundabout way, all of that stuff does actually come together, and I can help people through transitions in every point of their life.
Amazing. And for those who don't know what Reiki is or have never heard of it before, can you share with us in your own words what it means and what it involves, just so we can get a better understanding of that from your perspective?
Yeah, so realistically, I determined that I'm working with universal energy, and I'm trying to bring in the highest quality energy into my clients so that we can help to ground them, we can help them to feel calm, relaxed, balanced, but also inspired at the same time. We can let them see that there is a better version of themselves. And my work has really transitioned a lot into working with the soul, because I really found for myself that my body had always been healthy. My mind wasn't overly healthy. So then I did a lot of mindset work as well. But it still felt like there was something missing. And it wasn't until I started working with that energy component or that soul component that I really felt like I'd hit the money. And working with that soul energy, that's the spark of life that a lot of times goes dim when we're struggling with our day-to-day life. So Reiki for me is about connecting back with that spark within and allowing it to shine and allowing it to grow and allowing it to make you be who you want to be.
Love it. And so with the clients that you work with, I guess, what are the common things that they struggle with that you feel Reiki and the different modalities that you do really help them with? Like, if you could give us an insider view as to what that looks like. And again, so that our listeners, if they're thinking, oh, that sounds like me, that again, it's a new pathway or a different pathway that they can investigate and look into for their own, health and well-being.
Yeah, so there's a very common thread of people who I'm really attracting, and it's probably because of my own past experiences. So things like stress, anxiety, burnout, overwhelm, they're the names that really pop into my mind when we're talking about this. And it can be from anyone from any walk of life. You know, kids who are scared about going to school or worried about friendships. I've got elderly clients who've lost loved ones who just don't know who they are anymore now that they've lost that main part of their life. So it's really about teaching everyone to find that value within themselves and to really grow and expand on that. But definitely in those spaces of stress, burnout, and overwhelm, anxiety, they're really the ones where I'm really seeing lots of people coming in and getting lots of benefit, just like plugging a mobile phone into a wall charger and powering it up. That's how I find that Reiki really helps them. It just gives them that time to come back to themselves without all the thoughts going off in all the different directions and bringing and finding some peace and some balance within.
Amazing. And so through your genius and the work that you do, what are some of the outcomes when they're walking away or a few days later? I'm sure you're getting messages or emails and saying, wow, Lisa, I feel like a different human right now. What are some of the outcomes that you've commonly seen through the work that you do with your clients?
Yeah, it's people are getting improved sleep. That's probably a really, really common thing. But people just feel so much more balanced and supported, I think, in who they are, and they're feeling inspired and motivated. I had a brand new client yesterday, and she was someone who I had never heard of before, but apparently she'd been following me for quite a long time. And she sent me a message today and she just said, I'm so pleased I finally made that appointment with you, because she's just feeling so much more vibrant. She felt like she just didn't know what she was doing. She was lost. She was just really, really in that down and out sort of a place. And after an hour and a half, she walked out feeling revitalized and excited, but also aware that she is where she's supposed to be at the moment. And it doesn't matter that she's not quite where she needs to be, because there's no pressure. She's just getting there when she needs to. So that to me is really amazing, that she didn't walk out thinking, well, I've got to do all of these things, because she was just like, it's okay. Everything will play out the way that it needs to. So I think it's just that self-assurance that everything is okay, and you can get that motivation to keep moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely love that. And I know that, again, lots of listeners would be thinking, yeah, I have issues with sleep, stress, anxiety, all the things. And sometimes things like, meditation or going for a walk doesn't necessarily help everybody. And so it's great to know that there's other modalities out there that you can test and you can try to see if it's in alignment with you. And then have those types of outcomes as well is absolutely fantastic. And I guess being in this new area, not so much medical, but as you said, more around the soul work, are there any myths that you can really break down for us that people may be thinking when they hear the words Reiki or soul work, that we could just, be able to break down and share today?
Yeah, I think the biggest misconception is that, and the biggest hang up that a lot of people have is, for one thing, they don't think it's scientific. And I sort of think it's really interesting, because when I went to uni all those years ago, I had to do physics every semester that I was there, and I hated physics. And there was one semester where I had to do quantum physics. And realistically, Reiki and working with energy is actually quantum physics. So 20 years later, I've done this big roundabout loop, and here I am coming back to working with quantum physics. But again, because people don't understand quantum physics and it's not a thing that we talk about, people think that because they can't see it, it's not real. And a way that I describe this, particularly to my kid clients that come through, because I figure they're a little bit more malleable and a little bit more impressionable maybe, is I talk about Wi-Fi. And we can't see Wi-Fi, but we can be in one room of the house and we can have our device down in the other room of the house and it works. And that's because there is a frequency that is connecting and they are able to work. So that's the way that I describe working with energy is, even though we can't see it, I can feel it. I'm a personal person who can really feel the different energies. You know, if you walk into a room and you're just met with all of this hostility of people around you, I guarantee you will feel that. And that's just because it's a frequency. So that's what I'm working with. So it's something that, because it has been made out of the norm,
or woo-woo.
Woo-woo, yes, that's a very good term.
That's a good word. Woo-woo.
It's one of those things that I think just needs a little bit of education so that more and more people will experience it and understand that it really isn't woo-woo.
No, and I love that analogy of the Wi-Fi. I've never thought about it that way, but that actually makes perfect sense because we are all energy.
Yes.
Every single person, like we are all energy. And I call our bodies the human jumpsuit. You know, it's just the outside, but there's so much that we don't see about ourselves and about others. But as you said, walking into a room and really feeling the energy in that room, particularly if there's someone that just walks in, or as you said, if it's, you know, really negative, like feeling, you walk right into it and you feel it, you know, straight away. Or instances where you walk into crowds and all of a sudden you're just feeling this like sense of overwhelm, and it's because you're picking up on everyone else's, you know, energies as well. So it's definitely there's a lot of, I think, misconception around, you know, these particular modalities and areas, and with it being labeled as woo-woo. But when you see, as you said, the outcomes and the impact, you know, that is made through the work that you do, you know, that's just amazing. And on that point too, as you said, it's like Wi-Fi. So when you're practicing Reiki, does the person need to be physically in your beautiful space that we can see here if we're on video, but do they need to actually be in person with you, or is it something that you can do really similar to Wi-Fi where they could be in another room or another location and you're still able to do this work with them?
Yeah, definitely. I can be here, and I've worked on people over in the UK, and I don't need to be talking to them at the time.
Yes,
I can just tap into the energy and I can understand what's going on with the energy. So again, that's probably another one of those misconceptions, because, you know, it's very intuitive work. So you have to really trust yourself and you have to trust the messages that you're getting, and the work in getting the experience and continuing to keep practicing, you really learn to trust yourself.
Yes.
Because no matter how crazy what you need to say, you say, the client always responds. They always understand exactly what you're talking about. So this client that I was talking about that I had yesterday, yes, she was here with me at the end, in the room with me. But at the end, she was the one who commented and said how warm she felt just here. And that was amazing, because that was before I told her that I was really working on that part there.
Wow. Yeah.
And through her whole session, and even at the end, after we had continued talking about the different session, I kept saying to her, can you still feel that warmth? And she said, yes, I can. And because I grounded her energy so much, and I was talking with her later that night, she was saying how her feet felt heavy. They felt good. And I said, yeah, that's because that energy has now been grounded in. So it's really, really amazing stuff.
Fantastic. And obviously I can see from your face beaming when you talk about the work that you do, how happy and invested obviously you are in your clients and the different modalities. But I guess what's been one of the trickiest or most difficult things of launching and running a business? Because as we know, it's not all rainbows and unicorns, and we want to have some real conversations on this podcast about life as a business owner. What do you think have been some of your biggest challenges when it comes to reverting from being an employee to being an entrepreneur?
Yeah, so in my case, I'm a very introverted person. I'm not someone who usually goes against the trend. So all of a sudden, for me to find this massive passion in something that is basically quite a taboo topic almost in a very conservative country town, it's really has been quite challenging for me to make people not think that I haven't turned crazy.
Yeah. Yep.
Realistically.
Yep.
And because I am introverted, I know that when I get someone in the room with me and have a one-on-one conversation or work with people,
Mm-hmm.
I know that I can help them so much. However, trying to tell people the magnitude of the impact of each session, or trying to tell people why they should do this work, that has been so challenging for me, because I don't like to talk about myself. I
Yeah.
don't like to stand up and say, oh, this is what you should be doing. That's not me. So that's been the really hard angle for me, to try and educate as well as empower at the same time, without trying to sound like I'm, really spruiking to people that, they need to come to me, because I don't want them to have the misconception that I'm only in it to make money. I'm not in it to make money. I'm in it to really make some changes to people's lives. And the big misconception too is, people might think, oh, gee, she's getting this amount of money per session. However, by the time that you cover all of your expenses, as a business owner, it's like, yeah, there's really nothing left.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
With all
Yeah.
the setup costs and all the overheads that you have,
Yeah.
I think as an employee, when you've got a steady stream of patients coming to you and you get that hourly wage and this is what you're getting every single week, but then as a business owner, when all of a sudden that's been thrown out the door,
Yeah.
it then all of a sudden becomes a bit stressful about where's my next client coming from. And it's hard to try and navigate that place of not seeming desperate, but at the same time, I've got to make a livelihood out of this as well. So
Yeah, absolutely.
a challenging situation.
I think you're right there. I think there is a misconception. And I noticed this from when I was really young too, that if someone owned and run a business, they must be a millionaire or a billionaire.
Yep.
Like if you run your own business, you must be like absolutely rolling in it. But that takes time and it doesn't happen overnight. And again, there's a lot around sort of instant gratification around, I'm going to launch a business today and by tomorrow I'm going to make 20K months, and that's just not the reality of running a sustainable business. Yes, you could do that from a short term perspective, but if you're really looking to have a sustainable long-term business that's around for 10 years 20 years and beyond, then it's something that does take time, and it's usually at the 2 year to 3 year mark where it starts to blossom and bloom, and that's where you can really find that consistency and sustainability in your business as well. And so on that topic, how have you been able to really start to get your message out there? As you said, you're an introvert. It's not really something that you want to go up on a stage and necessarily say, hey, come work with me. This is what I do. What have been some of the strategies that you've been able to do in order to get your message out there, with it though being in alignment obviously with yourself and what it is that you want your business to be able to represent?
Yeah, at the moment, I'm mainly working with local clients.
Yep.
So a lot of what I've been waiting for has been their word of mouth.
Yes.
And a lot of people that are coming to me now, they'll say, oh, such and such referred me. So that to me is so perfect, because I'm not the one spruiking about everything that I'm doing. Mm-hmm. Someone has come to see me, they've gained benefits. So then they say, oh, actually, you would really benefit from this. Why don't you go and see? And that's where I'm getting the bulk of my work at the moment. And I guess the strategies for me that have allowed that to happen is that I've just continued to be authentic and to work with my values and to stay ensuring that each client feels valued and feels so welcome in my presence, and I will do what I can to help them to be able to be the best that they can be. So through offering a quality service, I guess I've got the reward from other people now referring their friends and family. So that's been a huge strategy that I'm very pleased is starting to work.
Absolutely. And I love that, because word of mouth is one of the strongest things. And as you said, it's a reflection of the quality of work that you do within your business, that then starts to spread. But again, that takes time.
Yeah.
It's not something that happens within a day or a week, but it's definitely something, that does take time. And so from an online visibility perspective, what other strategies or things have you been sort of working on to kind of help you to add that as an additional, stream of bringing in some of those inquiries?
So I think in terms of the online and the marketing thing, that's all completely new territory for me. It has nothing to do with the healthcare field in my capacity.
Yeah.
So I've always been the doer, not so much the come to me type person. So it's been really tricky. So changing my way of thinking to be more like the consumer. And what would I be looking for? If my child was struggling with anxiety, what would I be looking for? So, thinking things like Google, when you have helped me so much with what do you type into Google, and optimize that so that you then understand what people are actually looking for, and how I can say, look, I can help you with this. These are the things that I can do to help you with that. So that's probably been a big thing for me. I struggle being very consistent on social media because I just feel it's a bit of a mine hole, and I end up getting stuck there, or I'm not very consistent with posting things like that. So I definitely have a long way to go to improve my marketing strategy and everything online. And that's obvious because I'm really not getting many distant people. I'm getting a lot of local people, but I'm not really getting many of those distant people. And again, it's through people that I know online who live away that are my distant clients. So my online game definitely needs to improve.
Yeah, and it is a long-term game as well. So it's something that you've definitely started to work on. But as you said, consistency is key with that, and also not getting burnt out by it. You don't want to be a slave to your marketing. You want to be able to enjoy that aspect of your business as well. And as you said, seek the help that you need when you know that it's not your thing, it's not your jam. That going, okay, I can, contact doors, or I can contact, such and such, and they're going to help me with developing some of those, parts and strategies that don't necessarily come naturally. And they don't come naturally to any of us. It's something that's definitely, learned with time as well. But I can absolutely say that I can see your progress. You're doing amazing with the work that you're doing, and really tapping into your gold, the things that light you up, and transitioning that into your strategy as well, which I think is super cool and super exciting to continue to see your growth. Hindsight, it can be a great thing. But is there anything in hindsight that you would change with regards to your business and the journey that you've undertaken? If yes, or if no, why?
So it would be kinder to myself, and don't put so much pressure on myself.
Love it.
Don't expect the 20K months right from year one.
Yeah.
Just understand that I'm now a completely different person, realistically, to who I was when it started 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Had I have gone into the business and said, right, here's 10 grand, can you set this website up for me? There is no way that it would reflect the growth and the transition that has happened in me from that 3 years ago to now. So at the time, I was always thinking, I want to be able to do these things, but I can't, and I just have to do this. But just be accepting of whatever part you are in your journey, and know that you're where you are for a reason. And just trust that things will unfold exactly as they need to. And just enjoy it. Don't continue to place so much pressure on the end goal, because that's part of life. You don't just want to get to the end part of your life. You've got to enjoy the journey throughout it. And I think it's exactly the same with business.
I absolutely love that. Yeah, I think we're striving to get to the top of the highest mountain, and we don't realize that the trek that it takes to get there is where the gold actually lies. We're so focused on the top of that mountain, that we're kind of bypassing everything else that happens in between, which is the people that you get to meet and you get to work with, and you get to build all of these beautiful friendships and relationships, and it's life-changing. It's people that you wouldn't have met necessarily had you not ventured into the business world. But yes, as you said, 20K months don't happen instantaneously, and if they do, they're not long lasting. It's usually a short-term gain, and not something that's super sustainable. But what's one key tip or strategy that you can share with business owners that are listening into the podcast today that would really help them with their own business?
So I think set a plan for yourself. You've got so many things that you have to do in the week. Try and set a plan so that you can see where things have to fit. And most importantly, include in that time for yourself and time for fun and time for your family, or things that light you up. Because if you're putting all of your time and energy into purely just this business, I guarantee the business will not go very far, because you will completely burn out, and all of a sudden the business won't feel heard. And again, this is going back into my different way of thinking, but your business has an energy as well. And so if your energy in the business is all depleted and, just pushing so hard, it'll lose the fun. And I think that's the biggest thing, is to just really allocate your time. And that's something that I've really struggled with. And it's a real priority of mine to make sure that, yes, I have my business, but I also have a life, and I also have a family that I'm doing it for my family. So I need to make sure that it's all very sustainable and that it all is working in balance.
Absolute gold. And I know many of our listeners, I'm putting my hand up here too, definitely been down that road where business has become the main focus of, my entire life. And when everything else suffers, it's just like a domino effect, isn't it? It just flows on. So thank you so much. That's an awesome key point. So what I'll do is I'll be sharing Lisa's handles and her website so that our listeners can connect with you, obviously, there as well. But thank you again for being my guest today. I really appreciate it, and look forward to seeing your continued journey with your business in the future. Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you so much, Dawes.
Thanks for giving this show a listen, and don't forget to leave your feedback and rating. If you want to learn more about me or my services, please jump on over to letsgetvisible.com.au, where you'll find show notes and links to my social media profiles so you can connect there as well. Okay, well, that's a wrap for another episode. So I'll join you next time on the Let's Get Visible podcast.